Good morning, friends. Welcome to Let's Have a Cuppa. My name is Anna Knob, and each week I have one of my friends on to, and Nora apparently too. I have one of my friends on to talk about the super awesome things that they do, and this week is no exception. Audra Smith is a mom, a wife, a teacher, and my favorite description on her Instagram profile is domestic engineer. Audra, welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to sit and have a cuppa today. This is my third of the morning.
I'm on my second. I'm still working on it. It's been we've both had mornings already. Um, comparing notes about running away dogs.
Just a day in the life.
You did make that scary. Nora is sitting in here playing her shapes game, and so we're going to see how this goes here for everybody. But Audra, you do tons of things, and domestic engineer, I feel like sums a lot of it up. You're like me, you wear lots of different hats. And obviously, you are a mom. Tell me, how old are your kids again? What are their names?
Well, I have a Nora too. Her name's Nora Joe, and she turns 5 in like 2 weeks, which I can't believe at all, and starts kindergarten this year. And then Simon, he is almost 2.5. So I'm never bored.
No, and we were both pregnant together through 2020. And we also both got pregnant before lockdown. So
Oh,
we don't have lockdown babies, but these 2020 kids are
next level.
next level. And we already both have very strong-willed firstborn daughters.
Oh yeah. Mine's a huge extrovert, which I'm not. I don't have extrovert tendencies. I'm like bubbly. I enjoy talking to people and all that, but I recharge by myself. Like that's how I recharge my batteries, and she recharges by talking to anybody and everybody and just I mean, it's honestly fun to watch, but some days I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I just need someone to not talk for 12 seconds and I'm good."
Yes.
Just 12.
Yes.
Like,
Athena is sensory seeking for sure.
oh yeah.
And I am not typically sensory seeking. And so that has always been a very interesting clash between the two of us is her like sensory stuff. And you also are a dog mom, as we were just saying. And your dog has a great name. What is it?
Hamilton. I
Hamilton.
We got him in 2016 and the musical Hamilton came out in 2015 and I was just like very into it. And I don't know, the more that I listened to it and hung out with him, I was like, yeah, you're young, scrappy, and always hungry. So that name really fits you. But it's cute hearing little voices say it now too. I
Oh,
didn't
for
really
sure.
consider that when I named him, but
For sure. I also am a huge Hamilton fan. I love history just in general. Um, and I love how they mentioned Robert Morris in the play very passingly because I'm actually related to him.
oh my gosh, that's so
And
cool.
yeah, and most people don't know that Washington offered the Secretary of Treasury to Robert Morris first. And Robert Morris was like, I really just want to go retire, so give it to Hamilton.
Peace
And
out.
this is exactly how they kind of talk about it in the musical.
Oh, that's so cool.
And I went into it very hesitant because I tend to be a purist about things. Uh,
Yeah.
we're both musical. We'll talk about that then. And so going into it being like, this is a historical rap. I don't know.
That just sounds like a contradiction.
Everything about it sounded wrong and felt wrong, but I love it. And you
It
love
is
it.
so fun.
It is. It is. And my husband just rolls his eyes at me all the time. He's like, what are you listening to? I go, it's Hamilton. Come on. I'm just like,
Get
wow.
with it. They're
Yeah,
cool.
along the musical track there, since we're on it anyway, did you happen to see the reel that I sent you last night about choir teachers
Oh my
and
gosh, yes. That's so true.
there is a reel, if you have the right algorithm floating around about a guy pretending that he's essentially a high school choir teacher. talking about diction and vowel shape, but singing pop songs. I think they're singing Single Ladies, which is obviously Beyonce. And all I could do was laugh because I'm on worship teams, you're on worship teams. I do that in practices. I'm like, make sure that you have the right vowel shape. Make sure that you have a crisp T at the end, right? Um, do you guys have middle of the week practices?
We have something on Tuesday nights called development, and usually people that are on like the active team, we don't have to go to that. Like we can if we want, but it's not like a requirement to go. We mostly just kind of practice on our own, and like we get into these like cycles pretty much where we do the same X amount of songs just cycled through every week. So I go from time to time. Sometimes I'll go and just kind of like I just want to go for like the social aspect. It's like a great community focused, not event, whatever. I don't know the word I'm looking for. They're not mandatory. We can go if we want. If you're like not on the active team yet and you're still getting acquainted with everything, then
Yeah.
probably go every week, but it's fun. And we have like worship nights and other developments that are like mandatory, which like everyone has a life. So if you can't go, you're not like
Sure.
getting kicked off or something. But
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how we do things. It's like pretty lax, but it really works for the people that are on the current team right now. We're all just pretty like
Yeah.
self-starters. And so yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
us do it on
And
our
I should also say you're down at the Highlands in Alabama.
Yes. Oh
Don't want
yeah.
to miss that part.
Oh
We
yeah.
we are huge Highlands fans up here. Our church does Freedom Group. They're big Freedom Group people. And so I've seen your pastor probably almost as much as you have, I feel like at this point. But with our worship teams, we practice Wednesday night and we record the practice in case something happens with the live stream. We have a backup. We can go back and listen to it to make adjustments. And the first thing I do when I get in the car and pull it up is listen for my wonky vowel sounds or, oh, that T is too crisp. All of that to get to that point there. And so that video made me laugh. And I sent it to everybody on the team and was like, now you all know why I'm crazy because
It works.
this is it. This is it for sure. Um, when you are on teams, what is one of the most stressful parts about being on stage for you? Do you have something that a weird thing that you're always worried about when you're up there?
Trying to think. Well, I'm a type 1 diabetic, and so I'm always like, am I gonna have a blood sugar problem on the stage? How would I deal with that? I mean, like
No
my
problems.
worship director is also a type 1 diabetic, which is like we're kind of rare, so that's really cool. There's actually 3 of us on active team right now that are T1s. So he's always like, just walk off, it's fine. But I'm like, no, I'd be way too embarrassed. Anyways, so that's always a thought for sure. But this past Sunday when I was singing, I'm not like sick or anything. I don't know what the deal was, but I was standing on the stage and I'm like, I'm about to have a coughing fit, like straight up. So I'm like, what do I even do? So at first I would just like cut my mic off at certain parts and hold it really close to my mouth and just like try to discreetly cough with it covering my mouth. Because I'm like, what am I gonna do up here?
Right.
Especially in a post-COVID world, I'm like, I'm afraid to cough in public now. I probably this isn't anything. But that didn't work. So I just turned my head and just let it rip. And I'm sure nobody even like noticed or cared, but it's one of those things that I'm like, what do I even do? Because it wasn't
Yeah.
just like it was a straight coughing fit.
Yeah. Oh my
I
gosh.
just kept cough drops in my pockets for the rest of the services, and when I
I'm
needed
I'm good for weird faces. I have like no control over my face. There's a running joke about like pictures.
I
My
being photographed on stage.
Oh gosh, so our friend who did like our wedding pictures and everything, she literally has like an album that is Anna making weird faces
Oh my god.
from our engagement photos, like wedding, maternity, everything, because I just apparently make faces. And so I'm always petrified on stage that I am going to or am making a weird face.
Oh my gosh.
I'm also terrified of dropping my mic.
Yes.
I'll get really, even if I'm not super nervous, I'll get like real sweaty hands. And a few weeks ago, I said it to the team, and Sean, who he's the lead singer of the band Behold the Beloved, I was like, I am petrified of dropping the mic. And he goes, oh, it's not that bad.
Not a lot of times.
He's like, yeah, in one of our shows, like one guy, he stepped on my cord and I moved and it just dropped. And I just stood
Oh
there
my
and was like, oh, I have to pick it up. I have to keep going.
I should probably do something about this.
I should probably do something about that. That's fine. So that's one, those are my two kind of weird fears being on stage or sneezing. Sneezing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
probably
It's like
one.
normal things you don't think about until everyone's staring at you. And it's like, if I sneezed up here, would anybody care? No, but I would care.
And do you guys live stream too?
Not our campus.
Okay.
But we're
We
like a campus, but
I feel like that makes it worse because people can go back and watch your awkward.
I would be so stressed out.
Or like I feel like people sitting at home, they're not as distracted maybe. So they're
Yeah.
more focused and they're gonna hyper pick on things that
Oh,
they see. These again, the weird things
I
that
know you just don't really think about it until you're on display. And
yeah,
I always struggle too with like, I still have baby weight on me and stuff. Like I always struggle with feeling insecure about my appearance, but then I'm like, okay, it's not about you, Audra. Like, I don't know. It's like a constant surrender I'm having to do before I step on the stage because I'm like, it's
yeah.
not about you. So what if you are carrying a little bit of extra weight that you don't like it's your goal today is to
Jesus
be
loves you.
yeah, yes. I know. I'm like, oh, he's got me. It'll all work out. But it's not if people are so preoccupied with like my baby weight,
Yeah.
like their heart is not in the right place for worship that morning anyways. And maybe they need to deal with that,
Ooh,
not me
that'll
worrying.
preach.
So
That'll preach. I like it. I like it. Um my brain is glitching apparently right now.
yep.
So you're on worship teams, as we already said. You're a mom to Tiny Humans and Hamilton.
Oh yeah.
I always love your Hamilton stories. He's always sitting there just watching the chaos, which is
I
exactly.
know. He just stares at me. He like disassociates, just stares at me like, what have we done, Mom? It was just me and you. Now
It
it's
was just us. That's how our one cat is. So we have Samwise the dog, and then we have two cats. And we got Gimli when I was pregnant with Athena, our oldest. And he was my best buddy. I have pictures of him head booping me, sleeping on me, everything. And then we had Athena, and he very clearly feels rejected and just looks at me sometimes like, I
they're
used
so
to be,
funny. The
I
attitude.
used to be your baby. What happened here? Uh,
Oh,
but I also wanted to talk about the Birmingham Moms Collective because
yes.
you have been a part of that down there. I think it's so cool. I am not in Birmingham, I'm in Pennsylvania, but I love checking it out anyway. So I would love for you to tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So it's called Birmingham Mom Collective. It started out being called Birmingham Mom's Blog. It's like a oh, what's the word? There's like a national city mom collective organization in
Okay.
like bigger cities throughout I think it's in all 50 states. I don't know. I should ask Julie. She knows everything. But like I know there's a Memphis Mom Collective. It's just tons of cities throughout the US have
Sure.
the same like brand of a mom collective. And it's just, any mom in Birmingham that wants to write. I mean, we have people on the team that like are writers for their job. We have somebody who's a
Okay.
little reporter for local news. And then we have moms that like just like to write and like as a little hobby, and this is their outlet. And so it's really cool. There's lots of like different diverse perspectives on things. And I mean, we come out with guides all the time, which I have no part in doing because I am not organized enough to put that together. But there are many people on the team who are. Just a great resource for moms in our community on like, okay, what do I do with my kid when it's raining outside? Like, where in our community can I take them that has a play place where we
Yeah.
can play, or just, anything from this was my birth experience at this local hospital, or I had postpartum rage, here's some stuff that I learned. Like, just there's such a
Yeah.
wide variety of topics that are covered, and everyone on the team just has such like just a unique perspective. I don't know, I learn from them all the time. So it's been really great. I've been on the team, I think it was founded in 2017 or 18, and then I joined in 2019. And I actually haven't announced this anywhere, but I'm rolling off the team for this
Okay.
term. We do like 6-month terms. I've never taken a term off before. But my freelance writing career has picked up, and I'm like, I don't want to accidentally like create extra work for someone by dropping the ball
Yeah.
unintentionally. So I'm like, I'm gonna take off this term, and then they're like, you're still a part of like our family, so just come back whenever you want. I'm like, okay. So right now I'm just calling myself inactive because I'm
Yeah.
not off the team, but
Yeah.
it's been
That
such a
is
great experience.
that is super cool. And I've been following you, I think, since, let's see, Athena was born in 17, 18, she was one. I would have started following you in 2019 because Athena's one therapist, Megan, and you went to college together. And she was like, "Hey, I have a friend. I think you should follow her because Nora Joe, um, I think I think she was born, and she's like, I think she has great resources for you. She's a teacher, so you should follow her." And so that's how I started following you
Oh,
on
I don't
Instagram.
remember hearing that. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. And
We talked
then,
about it in 2019, and now I just don't remember, but
well, like 2020, was it you that was just talking about 2020 being 3 years ago already?
yeah. I'm like, how? Time is not real.
We just lost that time, and then we were pregnant through 2020, and
Oh,
then we had 2020 babies, which are
oh,
2020 children. Like,
they
I started seeing some posts about how these 2020 kids are just made different, and at
yes,
first I was kind of like, oh, haha, whatever. It's
it's true. They had to be, they got to be scrappy.
Yeah, yeah, it is that like Esther David anointing thing. Like,
Oh
they
gosh, yeah.
clearly were born for such a time as this, because that's
They
that's the
survived.
only that's the only thing that I got is,
So,
you probably have this with Norjo too. I often tell myself they're going to be great leaders one day.
yes.
Strong
Oh,
will is going to make them a great leader. This passion is going to make them a great leader. These big emotions are going to make them great, empathetic people.
even if it kills me.
It might kill me, but
Yeah.
they'll be awesome humans.
Oh gosh, I have been working so much on her because we are doing public school for kindergarten. I haven't thought beyond that, but I have actually a lot of local friends that work at the elementary school.
That's so
And
nice.
here in Chelsea, Alabama, public school is just, I don't know. I feel like it's more family oriented than most public schools
Yeah,
that I hear about, more family oriented than the public school system that I was in growing up, for sure. Um, or like, I don't know, more parent involved, I guess.
yeah,
Anyway, um, so I feel okay sending her at least for kindergarten because I know a lot of the people that work there and they go to my church and stuff. And I'm like, okay,
yeah.
if I'm gonna be there with her all day to pour into her, I know she's still gonna be poured into.
Right.
Anyways, oh, where was I going with that? Look at that mom brain. Oh, but we keep talking about like you can't talk like this all day long at school. Not just because, oh, you'll get in trouble, but like people will not want to be around you. I mean, I don't say it mean or anything
Right,
like
right.
I just try to help her understand, like, it's good to give a little pause and see if somebody else has something to say. She will just literally keep going until somebody stops her. which
Yeah.
like sometimes helpful for me, or like, I don't
Yeah.
know. And just like with her brother too, he's more shy. He's crazy, but he's like quietly crazy and sneaky.
Hmm. Hmm.
And more just a little more shy and less like he just doesn't want to talk as much. Like that's just
Yeah.
his, so she speaks for him a lot. And so we're also trying to work on that balance of like,
Yes.
it's so fun that you guys are best friends, and I love that you love to play and talk all day, but let's give Simon a chance to respond for himself.
Is it a wild
Like
concept?
walk, because I'm like, I don't want to break her little spirit, and I do love the things she says. Like she's really
Yes.
genuinely fun. But also I'm like, let's try to find a way that everybody can be a part of the conversation.
Yeah, I, on more than one occasion, I will just look over at Athena and go, did you breathe? Are you breathing? Because that was a lot. And she also will talk for Nora, and Eleanor has no problem talking. Uh,
Yeah.
Athena was mostly nonverbal the first 2.5 years of her life. Nora does not have that problem. Nora has no problem with talking. She is not like the quiet, shy wallflower second child, younger sister, or anything. And so I'll ask Eleanor a question, and Athena will answer. And I will say, I'm not asking you, I'm asking Eleanor. And I'll repeat the question, and she's still trying to answer it. And
Oh
I'm
my
like,
god.
child, your sister has words. I know
Oh
you know the
my
answer. I'm asking, sister.
god.
So again,
Comes from a good place.
yes,
It's so exhausting to redirect all the time.
yes. And
I'm
then
just tired.
Ethan works from home. And so he comes out. He's like, what is going on? And I'm like, I don't even know. I don't even know. Everybody's talking, nobody's talking, and this is why I'm tired at the end of the day.
Man, oh my gosh, it's so exhausting. I feel like the mental and emotional exhaustion is worse than like physically being exhausted for me. I don't know. Just
Yeah.
like, especially being more introverted, like, I don't know. It exhausts me by the end of the day. I'm like, I just need you to not talk to me for just a few minutes before we defrag about the day. Like when
Yeah.
the kids are in bed, I'm like, just give me a second.
And
I genuinely have nothing to say right now.
and then we have to try and figure out what to make for dinner after having those days. And Ethan will go, oh, what are your plans for dinner at 10 a.m.? And I go, I don't know. Dinner's 6 hours from
A
now.
broken
I'm not, I have not even thought about it, considered it. Sammy, we left. I made homemade French fries last night. We left the leftovers on the counter because we're dodo brains, and he finished them. So
Oh, he's like,
I,
thanks, mom. That was so nice.
yeah, because he's giant and just like puts his notes on the counter and gets stuff. So now I have to figure out lunch too, because
Oh,
leftover French fries are going to be lunch. But
yes.
yeah, how does Brian? What is Brian? What does Brian do with your children? Because again, strong-willed daughters is,
Yes.
and Brian and Ethan seem to be fairly even keeled.
Yeah.
So what is he? How
I'm
does he
definitely
handle the chaos?
not head of the family. Okay, well, he's like the perfect girl dad. Like I knew when we found out that Norja was a girl, I'm like, okay, well, she just hit the lottery. He's just very patient, and I'm not. So that is helpful. But
Yeah.
I don't know, he really wants to make sure that she always feels heard and understood, which I do too, but I'm also the family administrator. I gotta keep things running. So sometimes I'm like,
Right.
okay, hold on, trying to expedite things, but he really wants to take a beat and like really sometimes because he's the extrovert out of the two of us.
Okay.
So sometimes those two extroverts together, Simon and I just look at each other like, oh my gosh. SOS. But it is really sweet. Like they have a very like meaningful relationship because he's just so intentional. And like her vocabulary has always been amazing. So she's always just been really good at carrying on conversations,
Yeah.
which helps. But he's also just really intentional about making sure that she always has a place to be heard. Not that I don't, I just
It's
like
just
things to
different
be
when
more
we're mom and
efficient.
we deal with it all day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, I always make sure she understands the why behind stuff. That's the number one way to get her to cooperate. She has to understand why. And then it's like,
Sure.
huh, okay. Which, you know, right now might kill me, but someday especially when she's a teenager, I'm like, okay, like I think I'm gonna reap the reward someday of some of these traits.
We are for sure hoping that they're like getting it out now
Yeah. I'm like, I'll
because
be a punching bag if I need to be.
yeah, Ethan is very similar. He is so gracious and patient. He's got eons more patience than I will ever have. And a few months ago, we were just having like some really bad behavior issues. Nobody was listening. We were really acting out, fighting the whole 9 yards. It's a little colder here than Alabama, so that's, an issue when we can't get outside all the time. And he sat her down and had a family meeting and goes, "Okay, what is wrong? What do we need to fix? Why are you upset? Like what is going on that we can fix?" And in true Athena fashion, uh, also very typical 5-year-old response, more pancakes. We need to make sure that we are always stocked with pancakes. And they want the mud kitchen back and they need to be able to play in the mud. And I'm just standing in the kitchen, just cracking up because it's December and cold. There is no mud. The ground is frozen here. And I'm going, I get it. Like you want to be outside, but it's winter. It just doesn't. You can't roll in the mud like a pig in December.
Oh my
In
gosh.
April, for sure. But he sat there and he took notes. Like he got a piece of paper, and he was so intentional and just has the best relationship with both of them as a girl dad. So I completely empathize with that. And they obviously deal with our special kind of crazy, which makes them heroes in and of themselves. They're also burly and bearded,
Oh yeah, that's a
which is
newer.
new for Brian.
Yes.
Yeah,
You know, I'm like, he's like, what do you think of it? I'm like, I don't know. I love scruff, don't get me wrong.
sure.
Just has a lot of length on it now, which is new. So, but
Yeah,
he like it's like a hobby for him, like to take care of it. And
that's funny.
his military contract ended in August, and he was like, I'm just gonna not shave for a while since no one's telling me what I have to do with my facial hair.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. And it's still going on in March, so we'll see.
It's the winter grow out. It's like that no shave
Yeah,
November that just kept going.
keeps going. It's
And I also love that our husbands both love to watch baby animal videos.
Oh yeah. He'll just like send me reels on Instagram all day long of like, well, funny like marital humor. And then
Those
also
two.
especially puppies.
Yeah.
Always be like, we need another. I'm like, no,
I
not
don't have that problem.
enough.
Ethan's not really a dog person. He's a cat guy, which
Oh,
is part of why we have 2 cats. So
yeah.
he's always finding like baby mountain lions or cougars or snow leopards. And he's like, look at their tiny little meows. I'm like, I am truly, I think I posted it to like my close friends group on Instagram. I was like, I'm never going to have to worry about if he's looking at other women because there's a 10 out of 10 chance it's baby animals.
Then we'll put on like the TV on YouTube just baby animal montages for the kids, and it's just like relaxing instrumental music and then baby animals, and it's just like, okay, that was genius because I don't know, it like hypnotizes the kids and him. They're
And
all just staring at it while I'm getting stuff done. Like it kind of really works out actually.
I was gonna say the real mom trick here is to get all of them in,
Yes. Oh
in a
yeah.
coma watching baby
Out
animals.
of my way.
um, so Brian, was he National Guard, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Army National Guard, like
Yeah.
aviation.
And is that how you guys ended up in Alabama?
So when I was going off to college at Miami University in Ohio, my dad had a job change and my whole family moved. And I wanted to originally come to the University of Alabama, but my parents were like, we will pay your whole tuition if you stay in state. And we lived in Ohio. And so I was like, fine, I'll just choose the furthest south school in Ohio I can get into without being in a city. And that was Miami. So, anyways, I'm going off to Miami, and then they leave
Yeah.
and move to Alabama. And I'm like, guys, that really wasn't cool. So anyways, now when I would go home, like for breaks in college, home was now Birmingham.
Yeah.
Um, and I just loved it. Like, I mean, growing up, I grew up in Dublin, Ohio, and I had a great childhood. It was amazing, but I never really liked the cold. I don't know. I don't know. I think it just really mentally affected me. The snow was beautiful. I loved that. But then it's like once the snow starts turning to the gray slush, then I was out. So, anyways, I just found that like it affected my mental health way more positively being down here. And Brian is originally from Georgia. So we knew once
Okay.
we got married, like, okay, we probably are going to end up in the South. And so we just kind of moved to Birmingham after I graduated and stuff. And then Tuscaloosa because I got a job at the university. And then now back here to Chelsea, which is part of Birmingham. So
Okay.
that was a really long answer, but
No, no, not at all. That you're good. You're good. I also had always wanted to be down south. I grew up Southern Baptist, which is
oh
hilarious,
wow.
and
Yeah.
grew up doing World Changers, which is a missions thing. You go and do construction stuff, and it's primarily in the South. It was through the SBC and NAM. And so we had a ton of friends in the Carolinas and Georgia and Alabama. And I swore that I was going to live below the Mason Dixon, go to school down south, marry somebody from down south, because I hate the cold. I hate it. I hate living somewhere where the air hurts my face when I walk outside. Ended up going to college in the town I grew up in, married a guy from Lancaster, which is about as like Pennsylvania northern as it comes, honestly. And we're still here. So it was a
Oh,
nice dream, but you're the one who
it's
you
so funny how we
actually
make plans and then we meet a guy and then they just ruin it all.
ruin them all for sure.
The best.
Well, Audra, we are coming to the end of our time here. It was so fun to chat with you. It was a great little friend coffee date, and it is called Let's Have a Cuppa. And so, what is your favorite thing to have in your cup?
I just drink black coffee. I
Really?
grew up like sitting on my grandpa's lap taking sips of his black coffee when I was like 5. I didn't like grow up drinking coffee, but I don't know why I just always liked it. For me, it's
Yeah.
probably nostalgia why I still like it that way, but
Yeah.
um I don't know. That's just still how I drink it to this day. I do love a good like cold brew, nitro cold brew,
Okay.
because it has a lot of caffeine.
God bless. And a later roast has more caffeine too, in case you didn't know that.
I'm always looking for the more caffeine.
Lighter roast has more caffeine. So says the science. So
I'm a big coffee mug obsession too. This is my favorite spring one with the daisies. I always have some kind of fun mug, so
yeah, I got my Shakespeare mug today. I'm working on my Shakespeare class, so I understand that too. But it was again so lovely to have you,
thank
and
you for having me. This is so fun. Adult interaction.
yay! And I have a feeling we have so much more that we could talk about and probably should
Oh yeah.
talk about. You'll probably be on again. But again, thank you so much. And to everybody listening, thank you guys. And I will make sure to put Audra's contact information in the show notes. You can check her out on Instagram. I'll throw up the Birmingham Mom Collective for you guys to check that out too. And if you guys have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us and have a wonderful week. Bye.